How you doing? Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, May 15th, 8:39 p.m. Thank you so much for being live with us. We have very good special guest. We're going to be definitely previewing what's coming up for the Lions against the Pigeons, NYCFC. Right? Is that right? The Pigeons? Yeah, the Pigeons, right? Right. So, aside of that, we have Juan Carlos from Empire Sports Media and also NYCFC Fireside with us here today, as well as we have Paola and John. We're going to be also talking about what happened in Columbus. Definitely a draw that not a lot of people, and I'm sure no one's happy about. The should have been a win, but again, a lot of things to improve. But we rescued a point that no one saw coming, and I stay with the second half of that game because the first half really there's nothing to really say much, but we'll speak on that. Also, Pride still undefeated, so definitely happy for the ladies, and if anyone, happy belated Mother's Day for anybody that's watching. So thank you for your support. And let's start with Juan Carlos. How are you, my friend?
Good guys. Thank you for having me, and hopefully we can have a fun episode.
There you go. John, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. Yeah, ups and downs, a draw.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, we're in the middle.
Yeah, but
Can't get
let's
too
just
excited. Can't get too
yeah,
upset.
that's right. Paola, how are you?
Same as John. I'm I'm happy because I'm with you guys, and we have a point from Saturday. It was a rough
Yeah,
first half,
it
but
was bad.
we can get into details in a few moments. But I'm happy because I'm here with you. So
Yeah, let's dive into what occurred in Columbus, right? And then we'll dive into NYCFC. Let's start with your honest feedback and opinion regarding this Orlando City team, Juan Carlos. I think it's good for people to listen to your view from a third party perspective of this Orlando City squad. What are your first thoughts of the Lions?
I mean, you guys are like coming from a consecutive, draws and wins. As long as you guys don't have like consecutive like defeats, I think you guys are doing pretty well. Yes, like I think similarly to NYCFC, you guys really rely on the midfield. The midfield is probably one of your like strongest points. Of course, you have Gallese like at goal, so that's also like a good point of reference. But so far so good for Orlando. I think it's still for me it's still pretty off in the season for any team at this point. But like I said again, as long as the team is not really like having consecutive like defeats, there's still work to be done.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha. So from starters, I'm gonna put this picture right here. Cucho, the Colombian international. He had one of his best games all season. And I'm gonna start by saying, we look like a team that just didn't have a leader. It's just there was like that first half was one of the worst. I mean, if not the worst half we've had in a long time. That is including the game against Montreal. Yes, probably a lot of people are wondering. Now, we saw a Faku in the mid. It looked like a chicken without a head. I mean, it was just running around everywhere. Didn't know where he was going to go. Then we had Antonio Carlos and Pedro Galese yelling at the back line to compose themselves. I mean, it was just it was bad. It was just horrible. I didn't really see a comeback after the second goal for Columbus, and I'll be completely honest with you. But I think Duncan McGuire was that game changer. I want to say that the team needed, and I think Oscar made the right substitutions. Right. So, what are your thoughts from the start, John, regarding the game against Columbus?
I think, yeah, I mean, we have a real problem holding on to the ball and with possession. In that first half, like, I think we were trying to be a more counterattacking team, but we kind of just ended up giving the ball away a lot. Like, really, we I can't remember one single play in that first half that actually resulted in us, getting a shot on target or developing into a full play. It just seemed like every time we got the ball, we gave it back to them. So that was not great. Also, again, it's like the whose turn is it up to play left back? This week it was Rodrigo Schlegel, and the answer is not Rodrigo Schlegel. He does okay at center back, left back. He was not
No, no way.
stop anything, and all of their chances in that first half came down that right hand side, just straight through Schlegel. Again, and on the other side, right back, Angulo didn't have the greatest game. I think we have a real problem at our fullback positions. Like we have Mikey, who's nailed on number one, and then we have a decent backup at right back and left back in Kyle Smith, and we have Petrasso, who's out injured, who should be the left back guy, but we especially at left back, Santos doesn't seem to be trusted, hence why Schlegel's in there. I would rather put Gaston at this point at left back than play Schlegel there. Like he's a left wing back who who could maybe do a job, right? I think it needs to be a left-footed player. We need Petrasso back, basically, is the answer. He's the only guy who's looked decent in a left back position for us. And then I think right back, he was rotating Mikey, right? He was just giving him some time out, which is totally fine. He gets a lot of minutes, hence Angulo. But for that one, for me, I'd rather see Alex Freeman, like give Alex Freeman a shot. Like I think for me, playing a winger as a right back defensively, they're going to have holes. So you're kind of accepting that it's going to be weaker in that position. So I'd almost say that like the job Angulo could do at right back wouldn't be that far off for Alex Freeman to do a similar job, right? Like he at least knows how to play the position. He's been playing it for OCB. He's been doing well. So I kind of in this one would like, I just give him a shot, give him a chance, or bring someone in the summer because we're playing fullbacks who aren't fullbacks,
right?
And it doesn't work. It really doesn't, and I think that's an issue for us.
Yeah, and I want to add, and then give them the mic to Paola. I mean, you're completely right, but I'm gonna add. Orlando City loses a lot of prowess in attack when the left back situation and the right back situation they're not on point. And in this game, both Farsi and Jaboa had a field day. And why? Because Gaston Gonzalez is not a defensive-minded player. He was more of a wing in Argentina. In Union, he played more the wing. He had a left back right there, so he didn't really have to retreat and do that back and forth play. Farsi, on the other hand, and also Moreira and Matan, at this point, those three, they knew how to exploit those weaknesses by Gaston Gonzalez, always having to look back and see. That made Robin Jensen also be out of position, which enabled Antonio trying to help out Rodrigo. So it kind of gives our center backs double duties and become disorganized. And then Rodrigo Schlegel, that's something that honestly, I don't know why Pareja did that, to be honest with you. I agree wholeheartedly with you, John. I think if we're going to give someone that right back position and we don't want Mikey, Freeman can do that. Rodrigo, he's a great defender, but he's Jaboa physically and on the 1v1 was destroying him. Like the thing that Columbus didn't have in this game to maybe go four goals up was Jaboa maybe crossing the ball better and maybe having a straight up 9 or a better number 9 than Cucho that would capitalize on those chances. But they were getting us. They were getting behind our back line. So, Paola, with that being said, so how do you assess this game against Columbus? What were some of your weak points? And what can you say about the attack, right? Like Urgent and Ivan, Martin.
Urgent had a decent game. I'm gonna be
me too.
honest. And I'm glad for him because he cleared 2 chances that Columbus had in the first minutes. I don't know if people notice it, but I notice it. But I want to talk about the midfield. The core of this team was giving the ball away all the time. And Araujo and Cartagena, I don't know what happened. Araujo had a better game at the end of the game once we scored the first goal. then I saw him like running around and trying to recoup the ball. But both of them, they were giving out the, I don't know if they were confused of the colors, and they were giving away the ball to the other team. And I was like, what's going on the midfield? Juan just said the core of this team is the midfield, and they were not, I don't know if they were not concentrated. I don't know. They were, it was not an office day for them, technically. I don't like Rodrigo as a wing as a left back, sorry. I prefer, if we're gonna see this type of games, I think the idea behind Schlegel in this position is just three in the back, but I don't like that. So
Mm.
um I agree with you. Like, you took out a natural center back from their own natural position, and he was like kind of lost. So, and then we saw AC, he was frustrated because he's coming from a comeback after that injury, and now we're seeing the Antonio Carlos that we saw in the beginning of 2022 before his injury. So on the attacking side, Facu was lost too, before giving that ball to Ersan Kara to score that ball. Like, I think the midfield and Facu had a struggling there. So that's why they were kind of lost. For me, Ersan Kara should have been one of the contenders for the man of the match. For, in my opinion, he was
Yeah.
trying to battling in and out from the beginning. So, and you don't usually see Ersan Kara doing that.
I mean, I feel sometimes, and then I'll give the mic to Juan Carlos. I feel that sometimes that Urgent Cara is kind of undervalued a little bit sometimes for a lot of people in Orlando. I believe he'll be great in playing a two striker system in which he has some sort of help. Now that could be one option, but honestly, right now, based on the stats, and hold on, let me get. I actually calculated my stats right here, right? Uh, Obviously, Duncan McGuire is excelling over Kara, goals wise, right? Which is what matters, right?
But
So
goals per minute, he's way ahead.
exactly, yeah. So and we'll go into the stats in just a moment, but I believe that Duncan, I mean, he should be the starting number 9 against NYCFC. Like I think we were talking backstage with John. Urgent, he will be great coming as a sub in the 60th minute, you know, and I feel like with Duncan, he was more physical. Like look at the goal that he scored. He just barging in, you know, like just barging in, like without any fear. He's just shooting the ball, right? I'm gonna take my chance and make it now, type of situation. And you gotta definitely give him the credit. Now, I asked Juan Carlos. I don't know if you saw this game, but Nagby and Morris, Nagby's seasoned veteran in the MLS, Adrian Morris, young kid, they both pretty much killed Orlando's mid. Kind of putting yourself into, NYCFC mode. Like, what are some of the flaws you see in this Orlando City team in the mid-wise? I mean, is Mauricio Pereira surely missed by Orlando? Do you think that?
I think so. Again, like you guys said, the midfield, I think it's your guys like core. So like if he's like the creator and he's the one that's pushing all the plays, the fact that he's missing and the fact that there's no connection between the nine and the midfield, and then the defense is also like kind of like you guys said all over the place. Like when you don't have that like focus point to actually like guide the plays for the team, like I think it's just difficult for everything to start working out.
Right. Let's read some comments from the people that are here online. Thank you so much for your support. Daniel Phillips says Lewis is right. Kara's undervalued. That goal that he scored was the same type of goal he scored in Austria all the time. If we can use Kara properly, we need to cash out and reinvest those funds. There you go. Joshua Tola, Miss Pereira. I hope he will be back soon. Do you know when Luca Petrasso is coming back? At the moment, they're very secretive when it comes to the player availability, Orlando City. So and now they got Austin there too. You know, I'm sure that he'll get the, he'll get the the word out. I mean, one thing that really, and I'll be completely honest, that we're working on is trying to be on the trying to be in the actual trainings, uh, because there are only 15-minute breaks. So in order for you to cover a training, you only have 15 minutes. So for me, it's almost impossible. I'll have to take a whole day off work for 15 minutes, right? So, but I believe that once I'll reach to the club and see what they say. But we surely miss him, and we brought players, and I'm sure that's probably why the fans feel. We brought players not to miss Luca Petresso so much. I think Luca Petresso came as a very silent signing, right? Not too much hoorah for Luca Petrasso, but surely he's being missed. Tincha had a few no-look passes to the other team. Yeah, there was a miscommunication completely. And also Cartagena. I mean, Cartagena should not be having. I mean, every time they gave away the ball, Columbus went in transition, and they had the players to do so. And it was just very simple. I don't know, sometimes I was thinking, why can't Orlando just play a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-2 or a four, why, or a 4-4-2, right? I mean, it seems like we always trying to experiment with the lineups. Uh, Daniel Phillips, I feel like Kara had a solid game. I don't mind that he took that shot. We need all the DPs to have maximum confidence. Habibi says Potter in. Graham Potter, what do you feel about that, John? Graham Potter?
Yeah, I don't really see that one. As far as Graham Potter's fallen, I don't think he's looking at MLS. I think he's going to be going to like the championship or something.
What
I don't think he
about
needs to come all the way to the US to escape what happened at Chelsea, I think that was just Chelsea is like kryptonite for like all like not kryptonite, it kills all managers, right? It's like that's what happens. You go to Chelsea, your career is over. Like it just gets ruined. So
what
he's
about
one of those.
Tata Martino? Everyone's like Tata Martino, Tata Martino. I'm like, have you heard of Tata Martino's record in Mexico? Like in Barcelona, he only won like the league, if that. And obviously, you had like a squad. At that time, Barca had star-studded squad. It wasn't the Barca that Xavi inherited after Messi left. So I'm just saying, guys. I mean, if you're complaining now about how Orlando plays, please don't suggest Pochettino or Tata Martino. Daniel Phillips. We have a massive fullback issue. You may call it a crisis. I agree. Do you feel that, Juan Carlos, that we have a fullback issue? How do you feel about our defense?
I mean, honestly, like honestly speaking, due to the what is it, MLS season pass, I haven't been able to catch most of the games because every game is at the same time. So, I mean, if that's your weakest point, like I feel like this episode I could like contrast it to what NYCFC is going through. So like for us, the issue is 9, and it might be
Yeah,
for you guys, it's like the
yeah,
right back. So if that's your weakest point, I think we're in the same page. We're in different areas of the field.
yeah. I mean, it is pretty impressive. Like we were talking about it, we have similar numbers coming up. I mean, you guys just
Yeah,
lost against the Red Bulls, right? And numbers wise, we're right there.
yeah,
You
we're in
know,
it. We're always like together. Whenever like we're about to face each other, we're always like right next to each other for some reason at some point.
now for us and for our fan base, it's a do or die. It's kind of that Dropkick Murphy song. It's do or die. So, and for you guys also, because we're also in similar parallel lines when
Yeah.
it comes to the management, the performance, the stats, and all that. So let's read some more comments and then we'll dive into NYCFC. Zach Bartas, how you doing, my friend? Says Super Frank in Frankie Lampard. Hmm. I don't know. I mean, I like Lampard as a player. He was a beast. But I don't know how I feel. John, do you think those managers would like to play MLS? I mean, they have nothing to lose, man. Make it an MLS here.
I think you have to be. I think it depends where you are in your stock in England, right? I think lot like there's a whole pyramid system in England. So if you're a lower league manager, you can kind of work your way up into the, championship and then the Premier League. So looking at the MLS is just not really, it's not in that system for them. And so I don't think a lot of them consider it as an option. I think
Maybe for
I
the
think if
money.
you're
Would they do it
struggling
for
in
the money?
England, like that could be something you're like, oh, maybe I'll come over. I don't know. It's interesting to me. There's not a lot of MLS teams that go after,
Yeah.
your championship level or like lower end Premier League level managers, particularly like apart from maybe Wayne Rooney being the example.
Well, yeah.
But there are a lot of quality managers over in England that, on the lower end of the Premier League and upper championship that could do a very good job in MLS. I don't know if they always think about it as a viable option, right? They've got the whole English pyramid to work in.
I think as a as a motivator, as somebody that has won major championships, and they can tell maybe somebody like Duncan Maguire, hey, look what I've done. Like, this is what I've done, right? With factual proof, this is what I've accomplished in the soccer world. Definitely, Frankie Lampard will be a great coach, somebody to develop and make a team a little better. Now, I don't know if would like to come to the MLS, but now, if you give me Tata Martino or Frankie Lampard, I'll pick Frankie Lampard. In my opinion, this is just my personal opinion. Just because Tata Martino won with Atlanta doesn't mean that he's gonna be the solve of all our issues. I'm just saying. It says I want to listen brutality. Pineda, Fernanda Fernandez. All right, there you go. Zach Bartes, a more realistic English manager might be Stevie G. Did well in Scotland but couldn't cut it in the EPL. It's a good idea. Yeah. I mean, he would be a great coach. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it, man. It says I miss Pereira. Hope he will be back soon. So let's dive in a little bit about NYCFC and what's coming up. Clearly, we throw that. We got that tie against Columbus. A great goal by Duncan Maguire. We'll talk about Duncan in just a moment too. But Paola, what are your expectations coming up this game? Obviously a win, right? But especially at home on a Wednesday night, um, we see it as a derby, right? I think you, as being a season pass member, how do you feel coming up this game?
I just want to see. I don't want to see Rodrigo as a left back. I just want to
As a
see our
right back.
as a right back. Sorry, I just want to see our normal defenders. Holiday in. Probably let's see if Lucas is back. I don't think so because he was ruled out from the four against Columbus. And if New York is not doing well in the attack, we need to take advantage of that. Of course. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong, Juan, but they just lost four in a row.
Ah, you're correct. You're
Four in
correct.
a row.
Four in a row.
So it could be a fifth in a row. Sorry, Juan. I don't want to. I just know like we met
Oh,
each other right
wow.
now, but no. But we have like the morale for New York. Probably mentally is like we have to win this game for Orlando City too because we barely won a point on last Saturday.
I mean, that was at the death, man. That
It was
was
at the death, and
I
if it
I
wasn't for
screamed,
Duncan, oh, me too. If it
bro. I
wasn't for
screamed,
Duncan,
bro. I was
because
like, God. Sorry.
and at last, in a set piece, we score a goal, and it was because of Duncan. Because everybody else, they were I like
Yeah,
watching the ball.
man.
Where oh, let's
I'm
see
telling you.
I think
who's
that
gonna
was
get
a,
it.
a planned set piece though. Like it was supposed to go
Yeah.
to whoever was the runner on the far side, and he was supposed to head it back, and it just didn't really go right, and then it landed for Duncan.
For so at last, and we talked about set pieces last Monday. Like we're not taking advantage of them,
Not at
and
all. We
they
suck at
shut
set
me up.
pieces, to be honest
They
with you.
shut me up. So
You
I
know my
like that.
feelings on throw-ins, Luis. I do not appreciate these long throw-ins.
Man.
And that's another thing. Like we have to play more in between the mid. Stop long passing from the defenders, from Jansen to the forward. Just use the mid, and we're still like I don't know. We're missing that piece. And Luis, you talk about it in the beginning of the pod of the episode. Like we're lost, and we need to be more consistent in the midfield. Pass the ball, no long passes. I'm expecting a win. I'm expecting a win. Um, more shots on goal and more in the back of the net, probably. But
Yeah, that was this. I mean, that was horrible. I mean, having zero shots on goal in the first half, that was like, what the
I just
hell,
need
man.
the
And then
energy.
and then you have, and again, I go back to the video I made that, that sent waves to the OC Twitter people. Um, I feel like it's a character issue too, and the players need to put themselves like also responsible of what's going on. I mean, Orlando City has a lot of good players that know how to play with the ball. Play that tiki taka style football, that South American flair type of thing, and it's just we don't see that happening. We see that when they try to do that, they lose the ball terribly, and the other team goes on the counter. So it just seems that maybe it's you know I don't know. It's just character. Maybe they're just I don't know. Used to the pressure. I mean, that's the only thing I could think because I mean, you're a professional soccer player. You're supposed to be used to the pressure of the fans being upset, of the press talking about you, of people truly voicing their opinion, right? So, but again, these kids came from clubs that they have never won a championship, and if they have, did it in the 50s. Like you're talking about, Ramiro Enrique comes from Banfield. Unión de Santa Fe is doing relegation in Argentina. Peñarol is always up top. I think Facundo is the only one that has won a major championship from the whole group, including Galese. He's never won a major championship, not even in Peru. So you're talking about players that are looking for, there's only maybe a couple that have touched glory. Now, US Open Cup glory is a completely different ballgame, in my opinion. Now, and that was bad in itself, being eliminated from the US Open Cup. Um, let's continue diving into NYCFC with Juan right here. So I'm gonna put the lineup for NYCFC against the Red Bulls. Now, from this lineup that we're seeing here, what are some of the changes that you feel like are going to be happening with coming up Orlando City? You have Thales Magno playing the wing, right? They were also putting him as a number 9.
Right.
And also, to me, one of the best players I think you guys have is Rodriguez, right? Your number 10 from Uruguay.
Yeah.
He knows very well Araujo, and he knows very
Mhm.
well some of the Uruguayan players that play in Orlando.
Right.
What are your first thoughts regarding on how NYCFC may lining up against Orlando on Wednesday?
I mean, based on what I saw on the derby, I think given that I think after the match against you guys on Wednesday, I think the league itself, I think we're going to break for like a week, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So given how the team arrives, I think they're going to go all out. I think they're going to go all out. I think we're going to see. Oh, there you go. So
Let me. You want me to do? You want me to do the starting 11?
no, 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 it's fine. I'm just going to tell you the changes that I
Okay,
think are going to happen based on the picture. So we're going to see, how Sands is on the left.
that's right. Yeah.
So instead of Sands, we're going to see Kufre in this, Brian
Okay.
Kufre, right? Thiago Martins is going to go in the middle. So it's going to be like a back four. So we're going to have
Okay.
Ilinic instead of Thiago Martins. We're going to have Thiago Martins and Maxime Chenard, like as the center, like defenders.
Duo. Yeah.
And then we're going to have Kufre. In the midfield, we're probably going to have Parks, Santi, and I think Sands back in the midfield.
So Sans is a 6.
Sands is a 6, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then up top, we're going to have GP, Gabriel Pereira. We're going to have Thales Magno, and we're probably going to have Ledesma again. Or if not, Santi Rodriguez turns into that false 9 again. And then instead of Santi being in the midfield, we're going to have Ledesma in his place.
Oh wow! So you have a lot of players that in the in the attack that are
Hmm.
versatile, kind of like Orlando in a way.
Yeah.
Like Facu could play the right, the left, the mid,
Hmm.
right? That's great. So John, seeing the assessment from Juan Carlos on how NYCFC may play with a back of 4, you wanna give it a shot and see how Orlando should line up against NYCFC?
Yeah, I mean, sure. It's some of it's obvious, some of it is not, right? I think we have these positions that are just really hard to tell who's going to play in that position, and then we have other positions where it's for sure like we know this is a locked in starter. I think recently we have seen this Arujo Cartagena midfield kind of be a bit more consistent, so I think that seems to be something that Oscar is enjoying, even though it's not always working. He seems to be sticking with it. I say Galese at goal. That's an obvious one, and then I would go with Janssen and AC in those two center back roles. I think Mikey is going to be back to play the right back. I think the idea was to rest him so that he can play right back now, and left back. Oh, this is the
Uh,
real question. Left back. I
I'll
don't think Petrasso is going to be back. I'd love for him to be
no.
back. You know who I think should play left back, and I think everyone's going to think this is a crazy shout. I think Dagger Dan should play left back. I think
In
at this point he is more hardworking, and he actually can do some defensive work for
yeah, he
you.
does.
And he does play left back.
He's
He's played left
faster.
back before.
Uh,
It's like in some ways you want a guy who's going to work hard and could make a tackle. Like that's what we're filling in here.
no,
Or let's put Santos in and actually give Santos some more time. But everything we've seen from Santos is saying that he is not the guy. So
we
this is what I mean in left back. Like I can't. I'm putting Dagger in as like okay, let's give him a shot, right? Like because we might as well just try somebody else.
What
right,
about
Paula.
Salim? We have that
Oh,
defender, and we haven't
Abdi
seen him in a
Salim.
while.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
he's left-footed, and
Yeah,
I think he has
yeah,
played left back in college.
yeah. So
Yeah, so I
I
don't
mean,
know.
all right. So
It
so
could
so
be
what?
Gaston. It could be so many guys in
No,
that
I
left
don't
back
want
Right,
spot.
Gaston
No,
as
I
but
the
don't
what have
either.
we
defender.
But
seen? But what
who do
have
you
we
put?
seen, guys? What have we seen, guys, when it comes to Orlando and the back four when they get into a little bit of pressure, especially in the beginning of the game?
It's going
They
to be Kyle Smith.
they lose the ball. They lose the ball, and then they give it away, and then that's where the lapses in my opinion. I think that's where their defensive judgment gets clouded, or something happens that's how Columbus score those goals, and that's how Montreal score those goals because they stop communicating. So,
I
um,
feel like the only person who I've seen who's competent enough to play left back outside of Petrasso is Kyle Smith,
yeah,
and only as a defensive left back. And he can
exactly.
make those switching balls across to Mikey like he did that one game.
Yeah.
So that's fine too. Maybe he was rested because he wants to play Kyle Smith at this game as a left back. Who knows? I mean, it's like
So,
pick a guy, right? There's
yeah. So,
no.
at
It
this
could be
point,
anybody.
so at this point, we kind of know why Rafael Santos did not have any minutes at Cruzeiro, and why maybe they decided to loan him to many other teams.
I think in our off season, Luis, that was the mistake. I
Yeah.
think every off season there's like a bunch of
There's always one
yeah, and
that
it
was our
it
mistake.
looks like Santos was the mistake.
So Kyle, Jensen, AC, Mikey. All right. So then obviously uh early the mid, right? Are we going uh I mean, are we gonna go back to because if we think about how Oscar will line up, this will be Araujo and
And Wilder.
Cartagena, right?
Mhm.
But I'll be honest with you, I don't know what you think, Paola, but I'm not convinced with Cartagena, and I feel
We
like
should rest him. Let's rest him for
he
this
gave
game.
up the ball. Like, I think he'll be better coming in as a sub, in my opinion. That's just the way I feel. I think Dagger Dan, man. Dagger Dan came in with Duncan, and you could feel
Change it. Yeah.
because what did I notice is the aggressiveness that he came in with. He came in like boom, like I'm gonna take the ball away from you. I know that I will probably lose it, but I'm gonna go and run back and get it. Like
Mhm.
that attitude was definitely better. This is Dagger Dan. There you go. There you go. So we're gonna go for Dagger Dan, right? Dagger Dan. Dagger
Yeah,
Dan.
and I was wishing to see the same Wilder that we saw against LA Galaxy.
Yeah,
He had a, I think his best performance with Orlando that game,
yeah,
and I haven't seen it in the last two games.
yeah, and also because it was, I mean, and I don't want to, it was lesser competition. I mean, Montreal's mid and Columbus mid is much better than LA
Got
Galaxy's
it.
mid.
The other
Now,
thing on Dagger Dan, real quick, is when we have given him starts, he got played on the left wing or the right wing. And I know that he's a versatile player and he could play everywhere in Iceland, but that was Iceland, and this is America and MLS. And I don't think he quite has the attributes to be a winger, right? He's a box to box
right,
midfielder. That's what he is. He's great at
he's an
attacking.
8.
He can defend as well. He's an eight.
He's
So
an Urso.
so give him the start. He's an Urso, right? Give him the start at the eight and see what he can do. Because I think, like I said, the other games he's been played on the wing, and I just not sure that's his position. Um,
Mhm.
Even though he could play there, right? I think that he needs to be in the eight. And let's see, maybe he could be the answer. Because, like you said, Cartagena is not the answer right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now, pretty. Yeah, I didn't like his performance in the first half for the game. Now, Juan Carlos, looking at this Orlando City team, and you see, the players that they have up top. I mean, compared to NYCFC, I mean, we have Facundo Torres. You guys have Santi, like very similar type of players. I don't think a lot of people give Santi a lot of credit. But do you feel like this? I mean, on paper, what Orlando has, it kind of makes you feel like NYCFC may play a little bit more conservative coming up against Orlando in Explorer Stadium.
I don't think so. I think based on, the momentum of the team right now and based on the, the recent result, nobody likes to lose a derby. And I think the team is pretty hungry as to, and also trying to prove a point. I believe, I think the main issue and the biggest difference between Orlando and NYCFC is the fact that you guys have a natural nine and we don't. I think that's going to be like the game breaker, like during this match. Yes, we have like similar lineups, similar like assets in the midfield, like you guys. But I think you guys have an advantage, and having that nine is going to be like what sets the game apart, I believe.
Now, to add on what Juan Carlos said, we do have two nines, but we don't know we don't know how to use the first one. We don't know use that urgent. We're just kind of like we don't know how to use the first one. But with Duncan, he's been performing tremendously. I do have some stats on Duncan that I was going to mention, and I want everyone's opinion. Duncan McGuire, he's killing it, man, and when it comes to that draw, that everyone obviously is not happy with the draw result. I am happy because we should have. Columbus, the way they were attacking us in the first half, should have gone up 4-0. I mean, I'm just saying. And then for us to rescue just one miserable point, it doesn't put us last in the East, right? So I'm content with that. At least there's so many teams with 15 points now. Now Orlando still depends on their form and how to do it. Now Orlando City is the first team to overcome a 2-goal halftime deficit at Columbus to earn a point since they did it themselves in July of 2016. So Orlando, Orlando, we tied ourselves, our own record. So in 2016, we went and we overcame a two goal halftime deficit, and we did it again in 2023 against the same team, Columbus Crew, in that same stadium. So thank you to Opta, my pals from Opta. So and then also Duncan McGuire, 393 minutes, according to Opta, 4 goals, 1 assist. He is definitely having a great season. The Holland of the Heartland, that's how they call him, the Holland of the Heartland. Juan Carlos is laughing. It's okay. the Holland of the Harlan, right? And he's definitely living up to that name, man. I mean, he's being a menace. John, what are your thoughts regarding Duncan? And he has the coolest picture too. I'm gonna put it right here on the. Somebody took this picture. I don't know if it was
Oh, Duncan. He's
right.
just so he just the man knows where goal is. You know that finish in the 92nd minute, he absolutely
Look
smacks
at
it into
that.
the back of the net. Pure confidence from him. You know, he took it on the volley, just beautiful finish. And I think with him is that he runs and gives you everything out on the field when he's out there, right? He's giving you 100% every time, and you know that's what you want from a rookie. But he's also bringing the quality to go along with it, right? So he scored that many goals in that few minutes. That's why I'm just like he should be getting more minutes. Like give the man more time. I think he's got 90 minutes in him every game. I think Urchin Kara has about 60 minutes in him every game. So how you use those two is totally up to, you know, I think you could reverse it the other way and have Duncan start and bring on Kara. You can have Kara start and bring on Duncan. I think it depends on who your opponent is and who you're going up against and what the general style is. For me, I think away from home, I would prefer Duncan because I think you need to have someone who's pressing away from home and putting pressure. Whereas at home, I think we could, we have the possession of the ball more, so it kind of makes more sense to have someone like Archie Kara in, and maybe suits more of a possession based system where we can build up around him and get the ball into him in the box. It's hard to say which is the right answer right now. I'm Team Duncan because I think that he works harder, and therefore I want to play the guy who works harder for you. But I think obviously Urchin is scored a couple goals and is starting to find his feet too, and he's the big money guy, right? So from the club's perspective, that's the other thing it's one guy you're paying all this money to is the most expensive guy on the squad, and one guy is probably one of the cheapest guys on the squad. So
Right.
really they're like, we should be playing our
Now
guy we're paying all
people
the money to because we pay him all the money. So I don't
no,
know. I think arguably Duncan is in having a better season and should get the start every game over Kara if you're
right.
asking me. But other people feel differently. I think that's totally fine. I think they're both scoring goals, so either one of them starting right now, I'm fine with.
I also want to say, and I want to add, and I give it back to Paula. Um, he's a kid that's making a huge impact in the squad. His, the title of the show today was "It's About Drive." Could reminded me of that song of The Rock, that rap song of The Rock. It's about drive. It's about power. So he looks like a rock star, right? Now he's a player that he can make mistakes. Let's not just crush him. Let's keep keep him up, right? He's on the up and up. I know he looks like a level-headed kid, you know. Let's not take him to the stratosphere. So then when he maybe has a thriller equalizer goal that's going to take us to the playoffs, let's say, and he misses, we're not going to go and, hey, you should have subbed him out, right? Let's be calm, triple C's, cool, calm, and collective, and continue to support him. Now, he's doing a phenomenal job. Now, a lot of people are saying he's like the new Daryl DK. Paula, do you feel that he's the new Daryl DK?
Two completely different
He has
players
the
for
numbers,
me.
kind
He
of, in a
has,
way.
yeah.
He'll get there.
Physically, it's not DK, but I can see the the 1v1 when he tried to press the other opponent, but he's not Daryl DK, unfortunately. Um, Probably in a few more games, I can say, yeah, he's Daryl DK, but you talked about he misses. He might miss a goal or something. He missed on against Charlotte, I believe, last week. A open play that he should have scored, but he didn't. So yeah, players make mistakes. We forgive them. He has a bright future. He's not Daryl DK, unfortunately, and I don't know if you guys agree with me, but physically he tries to get the ball and all that stuff, but Daryl Dickey was like a tank for me.
I think it's just like the path they're on that
Yeah,
people are
Yeah,
comparing, right?
yeah.
It's not the player. It's just like, hey,
it's the
you came from
path. Yeah,
college and you're breaking into the first team, like,
right.
and but Duncan's doing it way faster than
Then
Allen.
DK,
Exactly.
yeah, DK. How many games and someone was injured to get into the pitch? I don't remember who was. I think Decho was the one who was injured. I don't know. That's the
I
past.
mean, Duncan started the first game of the season, if I'm not
Yeah,
wrong. So
Yeah.
like he was
and
like
So
then
right out
I
there from the
think
beginning.
I think Oscar sees something different, probably from Daryl DK, because for me, if Oscar is giving him starting, is he sees something from him,
yeah,
because
boom,
the other rookies are not starting anymore, or they're in the bench, but Oscar doesn't let them in. So I don't know. He has a bright future for sure, and like John said, whoever scores for this squad, I'm all in at this point, because we haven't seen a lot of goals this season. So
now with Juan Carlos, I want to ask your opinion about Duncan Maguire, and also I kind of wanted to ask you, this is great for American football, American soccer as well, because I mean, this is a guy who comes from the collegiate system of the United States, right? The McCurman Trophy, and so that's saying that our collegiate system, it's it's racing or planting seeds for potential UN's men's national team potential players, and that is great, right? Don't you think? What are your thoughts regarding Duncan?
I mean, of course, any player that comes like from within the academies, whether it's from Orlando, NYCFC, anything that you see that either actually gets to play in the national team or goes to Europe, anything that like provides a sort of like a progress in terms of like youth talent, I think is a good sign. So you guys got to continue with that, philosophy and continue giving the kids a chance, actually, because like I think that's life overall. You need to give people chances, even if they flop, but you know that you gave that person a chance. And I think in soccer is the same way.
Is that something you see a lot with your New York squad, Juan? Is there a lot of, I know because you guys cleared house like preseason.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of youth in that squad, even though you brought some guys in?
I mean, there is, but also, the model itself, I think after the championship season, like we believe that we don't really need like big names to actually make things work. And I think I spoke to the CEO of the team, and he actually touched base on that. He was like, I believe that we don't need to go into big names. We see that, with the Maxi Morales, with the Tati Castellanos, with Santi Rodriguez, like not necessarily big names, but they're actually being able to actually progress and build up a reputation that actually helps the team. So I believe that, you know, while this is a young team, I think with the right direction and with enough time, like we're going to be able to see some promising talent for the next couple of years.
The thing I think is crazy that New York doesn't do is that relationship with Man City. It would seem to me like Man City should be sending all their youth prospects over to play for New York City FC, and that doesn't seem to happen because if you look at the Man City U23s, most of them are on loan, like out in the championship, and they're like top championship level players. So I always wonder like why they don't loan them to New York. And then did you wonder that? Is that something that you get frustrated by and wish you had more players on loan?
I mean, listen, Citigroup itself has like,
Many
how do I say,
teams.
base teams like all over the
Yeah,
world. Like
Oh yeah, so
they,
many.
they, they recently, I think, got Bahia in Brazil, and they
they
have
got
Bolivar in Bolivia. So
Bolivar in Bolivia and Montevideo
You got
City.
Melbourne
Turkey,
City. There's
yeah,
so
like they
many.
have Australia, they have Japan. So
Yeah,
like it's not like Manchester City is gonna be like, hey, we're gonna send people to NYCFC because there's nowhere else to send them. I think in that aspect is a business model. Like
hmm,
we don't know how they operate. Like we might be able to say like, yeah, we need players, and yeah, we have talent, and yeah, we have like, we know we can develop them, but like at the end of the day, they decide as to like what to do. In terms of like where to loan these players. So like as
Like
much as we want these talents, like
Castellanos, right? Because he's
Yeah,
on
he
loan. Like Man City loaned
mm,
him out from you guys. Is that the scenario there?
no, Man City, we
Girona.
own the rights to Tati Castellanos. He didn't go to City. So he's on loan to Girona from us.
Yeah.
So
So
we
Well, then
brought
that
him
should be a
from
big
Torque.
sale for you guys in the future, hopefully, right?
Hopefully, I
hopefully,
mean, he did score four against Madrid recently, so I think that's a pretty
yeah.
big booster.
I am putting my vote. Tati, come to Barca, man. What do you got to lose? Barca needs a striker next to Lewandowski. I think that they will kill it there.
I think we're getting Messi back, so you
Right.
know.
But what I was gonna say was Santi Rodriguez, the 10 of New York City FC. He's actually from Montevideo City.
Hmm.
So and then he was sold. They did a club to club transfer, which is the weirdest thing. It's
Hmm.
like I'm gonna sell. So they tell the player, you're gonna play in the MLS, my friend. Better quality of life, great, my friend. You're gonna leave the. You're going. We're gonna pay you. So it's like a complete. It's kind of like changing payrolls. Like you go from one payroll
Exactly.
to right one bank to a different bank now, paying
So
getting
a
paid
different
much
branch.
more.
Yeah, let's say a
Right.
different store. Like if you have one Chase in Queens, we're gonna transfer you to a Chase in like Long Island per se, or like in
Right.
PA or something like that. Yeah.
Right. Right. So, and I mean that player for NYCFC, it's been a pretty heavy impactful player for NYCFC. Now that brings me to the record between these two clubs. These two clubs started the same year in the MLS. I remember I was there when Kaká scored that equalizer free kick, right? And 7 wins for each squad, 7 draws for each squad, 7 losses also. Now, 36 goals for NYCFC and 26 for Orlando City. I mean, you have David Villa, man. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, come
I
on,
mean,
man.
that was.
We had Julio Batista. Come on, my.
But you guys had Kaká. It's not
Come
like Kaká
on,
couldn't
man. You look
score.
at
You
John
know, no,
Smiley because you
nah,
had
nah,
Julio
nah, nah.
Batista. We have Adrian Winter. Come on, man.
Nah.
Right?
I mean, this is a record like all time like numbers.
Yeah,
Look at it.
according to FB Ref.
Wow,
Yeah, we are pretty
pretty
much
close.
tied. We're tied on
Except from
everything.
they scored 10 more
It's-
goals than
Except
us.
10
I
more
mean,
goals, yeah. Because they also had pretty good players, I'll have to
I
say.
mean, we had Tati, and
Yeah.
look, listen, from the David Villa to actually from David Villa to now, the only changes they've seen, like in terms of us as attackers, we had Heber Araujo and like
Uh-huh.
Tati Castellanos from that first match. So it's not like we changed a lot. Like
Yeah. But your nines have been like players that have scored over 10 goals a season.
not anymore.
Yeah, obviously not anymore. But I mean, when it comes to Orlando, that's I think what Orlando expected, right? Right,
Mhm.
right, John or right, Paola? Right, you right. I mean, with Urgent Kara coming with 14 goals in the Austrian league, I mean, we expected at least like maybe 8 goals at least, right? Right, guys.
And Ojeda too.
Ojeda too, scoring like 13 goals in the Argentinian league for Godoy Cruz. Facu Torres is scoring 8 goals in Peñarol the year before he came to Orlando City, and then scoring 9 goals in his first season in the MLS. You know,
I think it shows that like MLS is not a league that everybody can just come in and click. You know what I mean? I
exactly.
think that's a
Yeah,
lot of like in the off season we're doing all these trades for big players and it's great and we're like, hey, they can score 20 goals in their league, but that doesn't always translate into 20 goals in MLS. And I think that's what we see with some guys like Kara, like, you know, maybe he is only a 10 goal a season striker. Like hopefully not, but we don't know. Like it's sort of I think people look like for like, and the MLS is such a unique league with all the travel and the physicality and so many things that are different from other leagues around the world that I think it really does take some players a while to either learn how to adapt to work in MLS or they just never do at all and they just can't make it in MLS. So hopefully Ojeda is one that is learning how the MLS works and is gonna, you know, by the end of the season start firing goals.
Yep. And now let's look at this stats right here, so you guys can. These are the leading scorers
I
uh, be-
told you, Tati.
for the matches for all Orlando against NYCFC games. Kyle Aaron is top with 9 goals. Then you have David Villa with 6. Then Maxi Morales with 5. And then Chris Mueller now in Chicago with 4. And then Tajuri, which to me, Tajuri should have never left NYCFC. That's just my opinion. But and then obviously Nani, Tesho, Kaká, and then Tati with 2 goals. No,
Mix Discarud. There's a
yeah,
blast from the past. I
I
forgot
know, right?
about Mix.
Mix Discarud was a great player in FIFA too. I
Mhm.
will say back in the day. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
then go ahead.
Maxi Morales, that's surprising to me. Maxi?
Yeah, Maxi Morales, and then watch the assist record. Like the assist record, it's pretty crazy. There's a lot of NYCFC players in here. The assist record, you have Maxi Morales with 4. So actually, Maxi Morales has been the player against Orlando. So he thrived playing against Orlando City.
The father of Orlando. I'm just kidding.
The father of Orlando City, pretty much. Yeah.
Right.
Then you have Jesus Medina with 2, Kwado
Poku. Oh,
Puku
wow.
with 2, yeah. And then look at this. He just scored a goal against the legends, Real Madrid. Dwyer, infamous, right, John?
I mean, Savando Carrasco. That's the one up there that I really like. Oh man. Also, I love that none of these players are on a team anymore.
Yeah, Joao
So
Moutinho
that's
too, and yeah,
apparently none of our more recent squad can score against NYCFC. So that's good for you, Juan.
I mean, as of right now, like, trust me, I'm all for NYCFC, but given the momentum, Jesus Christ, we ourselves are like our own worst enemy at this point. Like, trust me, we may have flair, we may have names, but like we just can't score, bro. We and set pieces, Jesus Christ, not even get me started on that. So, it's going to be a 50-50. Hopefully you guys can exploit some of our weaknesses, but hopefully,
Juan, you're giving me hope for Wednesday.
listen, I know I'm not supposed
people
to,
don't
but
like hope, huh?
I'm being
Yeah.
realistic, so hopefully we get the win. Hopefully we get the win, of course. Like, I want them to win. But like, you know what? I think this team needs like a reset,
You're right.
I think it's a 50-50 because both teams at this point is a roller coaster ride.
Yeah,
They haven't been consistent. So hopefully we don't play as the first half like we saw last Saturday, like
yeah.
I just said. So
And it's a final for, in my opinion, it's a final for Orlando City because so many things. I mean, first and foremost, the standings are on stake, especially because NYCFC and Orlando are almost identical in numbers.
We
Second
dropped
of
to
all,
10. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
exactly. Orlando could drop to 10 too and stay there. So I mean that's why the fan base is so like pissed. I'll be honest with you. And then you have the fans, right? The home for Orlando has been terrible this year, worse than last season too. So which is crazy. I thought it would have not get any worse, but it got worse. So they have a lot of things to build up, and then coming up another derby. This is the Florida Derby against Inter Miami at Inter, and Inter actually on the up and up, winning games with, in my opinion, a really good 9 like Leonardo Campana and some other pieces, Kamal Miller and things like that. They're looking a little better now. Like we we gotta get that momentum going. If not, I mean, we're looking at 2 L's back to back, and then I think the families won't tolerate it any longer. Right,
and
John?
Joseph Martinez has been
That's right.
scoring goals. I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
now
Yeah.
like and when you know how what happens when he plays against Orlando, it's like, oh, let me score more goals. So hopefully we get our W on Saturday. I'm going to that game.
Now this is a striking data right here. People love data. 6 yellow cards. The top person, player that had 6 yellow cards between Orlando and NYCFC, Christian Higuita, a player that I miss so much, man.
Oh my god,
He was
I
great.
would give anything to have Christian
Yes.
Aguisa in
Yes.
this next. Like
Yeah.
like we're talking about. We need someone in that
Yeah.
midfield. We need a Christian
We need
Aguisa,
Christian
man.
Higuita. That's
That
right.
they don't make defensive midfielders
And
like
then look
him.
and then look at Alexander Ring, right? Now in Austin, right? I believe. And Maxi
Awesome.
Morales with 5. But now this is what's striking, and I want to ask this to Paula. Robin Jensen, Antonio Carlos are top 4 for most yellow cards in a game against NYCFC of all time. These are two. This is our back line. This tells us that they gotta be careful too, right? They gotta play with a little bit more poise, in my opinion. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think Jansen has been under control this season. It's not like last season or the couple of games. AC just got a yellow card against Columbus in the
Right.
14th minute. Like he needs
So
to
he
control
might get,
himself.
yeah, he might get, if he gets a yellow card in this game, he's not gonna play against Inter. And oh
He
man,
already has 4.
oh,
How
here he
many?
has.
How many? Let me see. How many
Let's
yellow
see.
cards have AC? But he needs to control himself
Right.
for Wednesday. Um,
What
I
about?
I could see Jansen having a yellow card in this game. I don't
Hopefully
know.
not. What about
Hopefully
you?
not. Hopefully not.
What about you, Juan Carlos? What do you think about these stats right here for yellow cards? Do you think it's gonna be a choppy game at some point between those both teams?
I think so, especially if you get Chanot going.
Yeah.
He's been like, I don't know if you guys saw the argument between him and Talis Magno, or like whenever
Yeah.
things just don't go right.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, for some reason he's just like kind of losing it constantly recently. Hopefully that's not the case against Orlando, but hopefully you guys don't take them off like the wrong way, and then gets him
So
into
he's
yellow
like
cards.
Antonio Carlos for us. Antonio Carlos, when something is not going well,
Yeah,
he
yeah, but
yells. Yeah.
he's not gonna yell his. He's not gonna yell like he yelled. Like Chanel yelled Talis Magna. Like,
Oh, okay,
No,
okay.
yeah, and
But you can see his frustration though.
right. No, and another player from us that like you guys should really look out for yellow cards. I don't know if I'm giving you like why I'm giving you all this information. I shouldn't be giving this out.
Don't
But
worry, I'm
like
gonna call the coach right now and just
right,
give him all
Santi
the pointers.
Rodriguez
Just
is also
kidding.
one to have very short temper. Like
oh yeah,
so like yeah, hopefully that's not the
I
case
can
in this
see
match.
him and Arujo getting into
Mm.
like a
I was
Yeah.
going
serious
to
face
say
off
that Araujo picking
because
poking on him.
yeah, like he same way.
Yeah.
Like when he loses it, like he loses it.
No, I
and
mean with
then
Santi is the fact that he doesn't even have to lose it. Like one wrong call from the ref, he just goes out as if he was been calling the game for like 90 minutes plus or something, bro. But like he needs to chill in terms of yellow cards.
and then this is a perfect opportunity for Facundo to do what he did against Columbus and get that free kick. Like actually play physical, look for the foul, look for the contact, and then Orlando capitalizing on a set piece. If Facundo would have not gone that foul, Orlando would have not tied the game. We wouldn't be talking about a loss, 2-1 loss against Columbus. So you got to take advantage of the short temper of some of these players, right? In a way, and capitalize on the set piece. Let's read some comments before we go. Erwin Vasquez says, "I think Oscar needs to go. In my opinion." There you go, my friend. Yep, totally agree, totally understand, man. And I love the panther that you have right there in your picture. I think Kara will be down, maybe missing. All right, Mo, thank you so much. There is nothing like scoring and winning that gives a team confidence. That's right. I mean, if Duncan scores a brace, man, man, I know John's gonna tattoo Duncan's face in his arm.
I love a youth prospect. I just
Right.
when they got all the potential, I'm all
Right.
about it. That's
I'm
how I
just
like my
waiting for
players.
someone to score a hat trick. I haven't seen that.
Oof.
So
Joshua Tall, what do you think Orlando City will have to do to beat NYCFC? And also, what do you think we'll have to do to beat Inter Miami? Let's start with Juan Carlos, what do you think that Orlando has to do to beat NYCFC?
Should I really be answering this question? I don't think.
You could just give us, like,
Yeah, like
Listen,
what's your biggest weakness?
biggest
right.
weakness. I'm gonna tell you this right now. Set pieces. You want to hurt us badly? Go to the set pieces.
Well, lucky for
Profe,
you, we don't score many from set pieces.
profe,
Set
tome
pieces.
nota,
Yeah,
tome
set
nota,
Like
profe.
pieces.
last game was the first goal we've scored, I think, from a set piece all season. I might be wrong about that,
No, no,
but
you're right. You're
I
right.
don't think we've scored one, and we throw a lot of set pieces away,
I
like
Yeah,
mean, look,
literally. So I wouldn't worry about it.
of these 4 games that we've lost, I think 3 of them we lost by one
set
goal and
piece.
because of a set piece.
I
So
mean,
it's
Story
it's
of our life, Juan Carlos.
it's
I
it's
think
rough
I
out
think
here.
Paola should go to the training for Orlando, just motivate him to start playing some set pieces, because
Set pieces. Come on, guys.
she's been saying that the past like 4 episodes. Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
true.
yeah, no. I mean, us we're big on possession, but like, at the end of the day, like, what's the point of having possession and controlling the tempo of the game if we're gonna like blow it out like in a set piece play,
There you go,
So
wholeheartedly. And now to beat Inter Miami. In my opinion, you gotta dominate that midfield that they have. Gregor, they have a pretty good players now. And Orlando needs to win that battle. I think they're going to play with two defensive mids. They definitely should. Let's see how Dagger does in this game. If he plays, it would be fantastic. But the mid has to be on point and stop the turnover, because now Inter Miami is showing some of the East that when they go on the counter, they're actually very dangerous now. I don't know. What do you think there, John, regarding what's coming against Inter Miami? Hello.
I mean, we just have to win, really.
Right.
I think that's the problem, and I think they're starting to show a little bit of form, and we're up and down. Uh, I think you know I don't know if Juan knows this, but it's a rivalry between us and Miami, much more than New York City and Orlando City. For me, like that's our biggest rival. That's the one I
no, yeah,
really
I
hate
think
to lose.
it's like us
So
in Philly. I believe.
right, that's like your biggest rival. So I think for us, what we need to do, Luis, is go down there and be defensively solid. I think that's the real thing. I think it's going to be hard for us to dominate the game anywhere away from home, like possession wise. I think we're just gonna, as you can see, we are good away from home, but we need to figure out how to create chances and defend at the same time. I think we David Goss said it actually when he was talking about us on Extra Time, that we're very good at either sitting back and defending, or we can like open up an attack, and we don't have the balance of in between. So when we go away from home, we're playing our old system of like sit back, defend, and try and hit people on the counter. And at home, we're kind of playing more of a possession based kind of all out attack system, and we seem to struggle with going between the two. And that's why I think we have these halves where we have like a really good half, because we change between one style and the other. But I think ultimately that's the problem when we go down to Miami, is if we go out there and try and attack them, they're probably going to score goals on us. So we're going to go and try and be defensively solid and hit them on the counter. And I'm not feeling super confident about that one, to be honest with you. I think we need to see a good result against New York to help us with the momentum needed
Correct.
so when we go away to Miami.
Yeah, I mean, if Orlando beats New York, momentum will strike, and hopefully that translates into the game against Miami. Because, I mean, getting 7 points out of 9, I'll take that all day. You know, especially against two teams that are on the up and up. I mean, you never want to discredit my NYCFC, because it's a rival, especially they're on the same performance level as us. And then you also don't want to discredit Inter Miami, despite the whole hate and the whole banter and all that stuff between the fan bases. You don't want to discredit the good momentum they're having right now with some of the added pieces and some of the ones that are going to probably join next season too. Apparently, some players from Europe. So Orlando will probably line up. Our prediction 11 will be Galese, Mikey Holiday, Antonio Carlos Jensen, and Kyle Smith. Araujo and Dagger Dan. Then at the 10, Facundo Torres. Left wing will be Ivan Angulo. Right wing will be Ojeda, Martin Ojeda. And then right up top as your 9, your killer, the Helen of the Heartland. Yes, Duncan McGuire. There you go. So hopefully this is what Oscar Pareja lines up against NYCFC.
Luis,
There you go.
can you put up the comment by Emo?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
made a comment about something that I talked about the other week, about Enrique, and I think that kind of is a good option for us. He's saying that
Yeah.
Enrique could be an option on that left, and I think the left wing where Angulo is. I think that's definitely a great option. He actually played there. I
Yeah.
think we haven't seen him do much as a striker.
That's a great observation.
He's not really
I
got the
agree.
striker's build. Like, let's be honest, he's more of a
No.
winger than a striker. So Angulo is, had some good games, but more recently, I think his performances are sort of stagnating. He's not doing as much for us as he did before. And so maybe this is a shot for Enrique to play that, left wing position. Maybe
And
he
we
could be
talked
the
about
guy
that.
cutting in.
Yeah.
Because he's got that right foot. He can cut in, play kind of inside forward almost from that left side.
Go ahead, Paula. You were saying?
Oh no, that John and I, we were commenting. I don't know, I don't remember the game, but we were saying that Angulo at some point he was gonna be like Statnet. So, and I think in the last episode I said that we should play Enrique on the wing. So I see that as an option, and I don't mind it because if he can score but he had speed, let's take him to the wing.
That's right. Erwin Vasquez also said Ojeda hasn't panned out so far. Maguire has been a pleasant surprise. I think maybe having him and Kara up top will be more effective. Yeah, 4-4-2. I think we should definitely play a little bit more conservative when it comes to lineups. 4-4-2, I think with Duncan and Urgent, and or maybe Enrique as a second striker with Urgent. It could be a good idea. I agree. This is stopping by to show love, says Mike B. We are getting 3 points. There you go. That's the attitude. There you go. Finally. Thank you, sir. Kara
No,
rolled his ankle. MO. What did you say, Juan Carlos?
I don't think so.
Look at that. Kara rolled his ankle and says, oh, he did. Yikes. Yeah. He came out after the game after a set play. Yeah, he did. Hopefully he's okay. But if not, we have Duncan. So, I think he's proven to be more effective. Yeah, we need to be more proactive and not just depend on the counter. Results are great, but we'd like to see a more balanced performance. Antonio Carlos and Jensen should be entrenched as our center backs. Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they
with
get
that.
beat over the top. I would say that's
Exactly.
Juan.
It's-
Like, we have a real problem with the pace of our back line, and
Yeah.
we like to play like quite a high back line at home because we
Exactly,
think we
yeah.
like possess the ball. So when we lose the ball, there's
Mhm.
so much space in behind our center backs and our
Mhm.
full backs. So I can see, like, if I'm New York, I'm gonna take Talis Magno and I'm just gonna aim him at whoever's
Exactly.
playing left back this
But
week.
but this is where I
And it's
come
gonna
in
cause
and I tell you
problems.
guys, like, even if you give Thales Magno like while 1-on-1 chance, we don't finish. We don't finish like plays. We don't finish chances. Like, you guys can play like a high line in the back. We could have like 3-on-1, and we just don't like capitalize. Like, losing games by 1 goal, like this is where I come back to like having possession, like creating chances, having possession, and then what if we can't finish? Like, it's not really worth it. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully Thales Magno gets to score some goals if that's the case with you guys.
No, he's
Erwin.
not. I'm just kidding.
No, Thales Magno, I'm telling you, man, he's a good player.
He's a good player, but he's just not like, I don't know what's
He's
going
not
on.
he's not Tati Castellanos, man. He's not a killer finisher.
We
I
need a
mean,
9. I say
that's
it again.
right.
Please, Jesus Christ.
And they
Let's
have
let's go
a
get a 9. Let's
Would
go
you
get a
would
9,
you are
Jesus
you
Christ.
interested in Urchin Carr? Would you want to do a trade? Should we set this up right now? Because he doesn't really fit our style, so
I
like he
mean,
might work
you
for
guys set
you.
him off for free. Like we
You
need a
know,
9,
you
so
send us
might as well,
Talos
you know.
Magno, and we'll
send
send
us
you Urchin Carr. Is that a good
Thales
deal? I
Magno,
think we should set this up.
the rights of Tati Castellanos, and and $5
Five.
for,
No, no,
I
no, no,
just,
no. You guys are asking for too much.
yeah, you
Okay,
imagine.
let's make it a fair trade, okay?
I mean,
Fair
you guys.
trade. Caligmano wasn't cheap, right?
No,
How how
he
how many
wasn't cheap.
millions?
Like a couple of million,
Yeah,
Couple
that
of
like
millions
a
was.
like
million
Cara.
something. Yeah,
Yeah, Kara was a couple of millions too. Yeah.
a couple of millions. But again, he has. I don't know what's going on. If it's the weather, like he's getting like homesick.
Mm.
I
Hey, we
don't know
have
what's
perfect
going.
weather here.
Yeah, that.
We have international drive. We have a Brazilian bank.
We have a
Yeah, I
Brazilian
mean,
bank, a lot of Brazilian families here. We can
That's
come
right.
home.
sure. I mean, who knows? Who knows? But
Imagine.
let's keep him here. Like, we still have enough
We're
time,
gonna
like,
start
to
the
actually convince him.
trade season. Mo Enrique's quick. Will play defense, and that boy can jump. I mean, yes, I agree with you, Mo. But even more than that, when Duncan Ramiro and Duggar Dan came in against Columbus, you saw
Change
that
everything.
and they came out. Look, they knew. Look, I know I'm probably fighting the fight under 2 goals, right? I know I'm probably ready to lose this game, but you know what? I'm gonna prove him that I can do it. I'm gonna fight him. So their attitude was just you could tell their attitude, their fire was like super. It's a huge fire inside of them, right? So, and you saw that it became contagious to every single player in that second half, and then that's why they had so much success. We need those type of players that in the moments of crisis, in the moments of that we have to get the result, they mentally are strong and not just give up or walk the field or look down or go like, hey, you didn't pass me the ball. Like we need to stop that. He has the ability to create Angulo. No, for no, I mean, yeah, I think we should pick him up. I think we should pick him up. I mean, he's been one of those players that have been definitely good for us. I want to, before we go, thank Juan Carlos for being with us today. I know it won't be the last time that we see him. I know that NYCFC is playing again against Orlando fairly soon.
Yeah.
I want to, for everyone to follow him on Twitter at Juan_C71, and then on Instagram at J.C09_. Okay. And also you can find him on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. His page is NYCFC Fireside. And I want to also give a shout out and thanks to um, Empire Sports Media for allowing also Juan to be here with us today. Juan, anything you want to say to closing remarks for the show today?
No, just thank you for the invite. This show has been very productive, learning a lot from Orlando. Again, this whole season pass, it just makes it difficult to watch every team like before the deal like got struck. So like again, it's been great to actually get feedback. Hopefully we get to see, a pretty good match. It's a derby, uh indirectly, so hopefully we see a lot of goals and may the best one win.
There you go. Paola, last closing remarks.
Hopefully, we get 3 points on Wednesday, 3 points against Miami. Going to that game. That's my first away game. In the entire season that I've been a fan. So, vamos Orlando. I'm going to be there on Wednesday as well. So you better bring me 3 points on Wednesday.
There you go, John.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Juan for coming on. Appreciate it. And hopefully you got lots of information on us to take back to your podcast now.
Yeah.
Do you record before our game on Wednesday?
I mean, we try to. It's like on and off, It's
Oh,
just
okay.
like life here in New York is just like very hectic. So like we try to record
Things
as
move
much as
fast.
possible. Yeah.
But yeah, please everybody go ahead and follow me on Twitter. My handle is on the screen for my random takes and things that I believe about soccer, my opinions. I want to say excited for Wednesday, but also a little bit tentative. I think the last game, last game we didn't really, a
No,
2-2
no.
draw. We didn't really see much
I don't
change,
blame you, John. I'm in the
right?
same
So I'm
same
kind of
boat.
like, I'm still not convinced by what I'm seeing. So
No, of
good
course
that we
not.
fought back. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to end with that, really there's a lot of work to be done. And we all know that. So hopefully this could be the start of a good run for us.
Also, for all Orlando City fans, before we close, we want to encourage everybody vote for Pedro Galese for Golden Glove, MLS Golden Glove, because the MLS don't give any love to Orlando, unfortunately. And I think Pedro is without Pedro, we would have already been probably 14th. So, and also subscribe to our channel, click on the notification bell for all notifications. Thank you so much for your support. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube as LPO_podcast. And we're also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much. Uh, what's old? My apologies. But again, 2 games coming up. Hopefully, NYCFC. It's a win for Orlando. I'm hoping a thriller 2-1 win. Hopefully,
Yeah.
let's hopefully Orlando. Get ready for the weekend against Miami. We'll see. But what do you want to say, Juan Carlos? You said no.
No, I
No.
think it's a 3-0 to NYCFC. Hopefully.
Man, look at
3-0.
that.
Oh my
He,
lord.
he had no
Man.
confidence in his team the whole pod, and now he calls 3-0. I like it.
3-0,
Well
yeah.
played, sir.
Well played. Well played. All right, guys. Vamos Orlando. Take care,
Vamos
guys. Have a good
Orlando, let's
weekend.
Thank you
go.
guys.
Vamos.
Bye.